Hi, everyone. It's good to see you again. It was great to see a few of our church families today. We were out and about traveling on this beautiful day and took the time to stop in at the homes of a few neighbors in our church that we were driving by their place. And what a joy to be able to just stop for a few moments and wave to each other and talk just briefly. Just to see each other brings such joy in this time, and that's really important. Speaking of this time, that's another question that has been running in the back of my mind, and I bet in the back of your mind as well. How long is this going to go on? How long till it's all over with? And the question that follows that in my mind often is, when do we get back to to the way things were before? But that reminds me of a conversation Jesus had with his disciples. It's recorded in Matthew 24, and it's kind of a long conversation, so I'm going to summarize. Jesus had just told the disciples about a time that was coming when the temple would be destroyed. And the disciples, their minds were blown by that. They couldn't imagine a world without the temple. And so that was the equivalent for them of the end of the world. Well, they asked Jesus, when will this be? And what will be the sign that this is about to take place? Well, of course, that launches Jesus into a long speech about all kinds of things that are going to happen first. Wars and famines and persecutions and all kinds of end of the world stuff. But Jesus says all that comes first, and then when he gets around to answering their question, when will this be? His answer is, as you might recall, about that day and hour, no one knows. Tell me about it, right? That's why we don't actually ask our question out loud. When will this all be over with? Because we know that the only honest answer any of us can give is nobody knows. We get focused on how long this will go until we can get back to what we were. But Jesus takes that point and says, no one knows how long this is going to go. But what he does tell them is that it will come to an end. But what comes next won't be what was. It will be something new. So Jesus launches into story after story after story, and they all have three basic points. One, be preparing now for what is to come. Two, be ready for the better that comes next. And three, in the meantime, let's take care of those in need. That's what Jesus tells them in the stories that follow this phrase of about that day and hour no one knows. And I think it gives us a roadmap for what we are to be about today. You see, we're all learning new skills right now. We're all learning new ways. We're all learning more and more about the important things that this time is teaching us, about what matters most, about where our priorities are, and about what really we are trying to build as a church and as a community and as people. So today, if we got the news that 1 week from today this would all be over with, I would hope that what we would do between now and then would not just be to ride out the time. I would hope that we would be preparing, as we have been, for what is to come. That we would be ready for that day when this is done and something better comes in its place. You see, we're not just going to come through this and then say, well, we learned a lot to get through that, now let's just forget about all of that because we're going back to what we had before. No, Jesus calls us to a better life than that. He calls us to spend our time today preparing, being ready, and engaging and caring for one another, because the life that is to come will then be better than ever before. When will it end? Nobody knows. But today you have the opportunity to work with God at making that day better than ever. Amen. And let's keep living the story.